Montrealers have a lot to say about transit strikes, and our TikTok comments have been pretty heated recently. Some people are looking for someone to blame, others are bringing their own facts to try and back up their arguments. But are they all facts? Well, let's break this down to get a better sense of how we got here and what might happen next. And let's actually use your comments, starting with a really common one, which is that STM workers are already making enough money. You've said things like, the workers on strike are currently making a salary of over $100K, or they're currently making on average more than teachers. Well, first things first, STM maintenance workers, those putting forward most of the strike actions, they make anywhere between $31 to $45 an hour. That comes out to around $64,000 to $93,000 annually, not including things like benefits or overtime. And what they're asking for is a 25% wage increase over a period of 5 years. Bus drivers, metro operators, station agents who are also on strike, well, they make a lower base wage, but things like overtime are much more common, which actually bumps up their pay quite significantly. Now, just to give you some context, in Quebec, a regular full-time teacher will make anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 annually. And what the STM workers say is that their wages simply haven't kept up with the cost of living over the past few decades.
You've been living in this world where for much of your career you've basically been, your real wage has been stagnant or falling, and then now you're in this position where you could actually make some gains, then you're going to try to take that opportunity, right?
Next, many of you have actually said some version of the opposite. Things like, well, have we tried paying the workers what they deserve? Or the CEO of the STM makes almost $500,000 a year. Pay the employees more, the money is there. Okay. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's focus on the facts. If you look at the STM's books, technically their $1.8 billion annual budget is actually balanced. There's no profits, there's no losses, but in order to be able to do that, they've had to make tens of millions in cuts every single year, as well as ask governments for new funding constantly.
I don't know any public transport in any major city that's in good financial shape. I think that's partly the nature of public transportation, is that in order to make it accessible to everybody, you have to price it in a way that makes it almost impossible to be able to cover your costs. They're obviously in a difficult financial situation. I don't know it's entirely of their own doing, though.
As for what the CEO of the STM is paid, Marie-Claude Léonard made over $470,000 last year. That's about 0.026% of the STM's annual budget.
The STM CEO is making a huge salary, but even if you just took that entire salary and made the CEO work for free and redistributed that, you wouldn't be able to really raise, the wages of the workers by much.
And finally, many of you have blamed governments for not stepping up, saying things like, thank you, la CAQ, for defunding the STM, or it's the government's fault for not paying the workers properly. So it's true that in the past, the province has cut specific government revenues needed to fund public transit, and the CEQ government has been hesitant about providing new funding. But at the same time, both the provincial and federal government have put billions towards expanding public transit in Montreal, including a shared cost of around $7 billion needed to expand the Metro's Blue Line. Now, the city, Montreal, it's putting around $750 million, so around 10% of its annual budget this year, into public transit alone. So the question is, who's going to step up to give the STM more money so it's able to meet the workers' demands? Well, that's where public transit gets political.
It's something that that is doable with the political will to do so, right? You can figure out the tax policies, the revenue generating policies that would allow for that kind of system, right? But that's not the model that either our current municipal government or the current provincial government are working with.
So yes, it is complicated, but hopefully this gives you what you need to be able to make your next comment on transit strikes.